The first video tonight comes from Our Way to Rome, a US-based nomadic lifestyle channel documenting Savannah and Drew as they travel full-time in a converted expedition vehicle, sharing both scenic overlanding and the realities of off-grid living. It is February 20th, 2023, in a remote BLM camping area, Arizona, United States.
Uncomfortable. He pulled up on a dirt road. It was fairly rocky. It was the limit of our bus, for sure. We look over and he's on a motorcycle.
The situation begins with something that doesn't quite fit. A man arrives at their isolated campsite on a cruiser-style motorcycle. That detail matters because the terrain isn't suited for that kind of vehicle. Even before the interaction starts, something feels out of place.
Closer to me than he was to Drew, and it made me extremely uncomfortable the way that it, and it wasn't like a pocket knife. It was like a hunting knife, like an 8-inch blade on this knife. It was gigantic. And he's talking about how he needs it for protection and all this stuff, knows what to say, and he's not saying anything. And this silence just lasted forever. And I start to think to myself.
Then escalation. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a large knife. No sudden movement. But the action itself is enough. The justification doesn't matter. Displaying it in that moment redefines the situation entirely.
And there was just something in my gut that said, get this person away from you. This is not good. Something bad. In the inside of our bus, we knew he had a weapon. We were feeling pretty isolated. We just added up all of these.
Drew shifts the dynamic. No confrontation, just a clean exit strategy. They create a reason to disengage and end the interaction without escalation. The priority becomes distance. Once he moves off, they don't wait. They leave. Immediately, despite darkness, terrain, and inconvenience. That decision matters more than anything before it, because it removes uncertainty entirely. This isn't built on noise or ambiguity, it's behavioral. Small inconsistencies, stacking into a clear pattern. Out-of-place arrival, unusual interaction, visible weapon, lingering presence. Nothing happens, but everything points toward potential. And that's the key difference. The situation never confirms itself, but it doesn't need to, because the decision is made before it does. Before we move on, if you're enjoying the video so far, leaving a like really helps. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. We recently passed 50,000 subscribers, and that's entirely because of you. The next target is 100,000 before the end of the year. Ambitious, but worth aiming for. There's a hidden word somewhere in this video. See if you can spot it. Now, let's continue. The next horrifying video comes from the Cryptid Rig, a niche channel blending solo stealth camping, van life, and paranormal-style investigation, using tools like thermal imaging and trail cameras to document remote wilderness environments. It is April the 16th, 2026, at the Mogollon Rim, Arizona, United States. As night begins to settle over the rim, the focus is still practical. Signs of animal activity, foraging patterns, and potential bear presence near camp. But the shift comes with the environment itself. Not silence, but exposure. The open drop of the rim creates a feeling of being visible from everywhere at once. Combined with the cold wind cutting across the terrain, the space stops feeling open and starts feeling watched.
Okie dokie. Since we're camping out here in Arizona, I'm going to tell you a little tale here about the Mogollon Rim monster. Or as they called it back in the day, the Wild Man of Arizona. This story and the illustration are from a newspaper called the Ann Arbor Argus Democrat. It was published on July 3rd, 1903. So these tales go way back. This story took place in Mojave County, Arizona, and it's at the extreme lower end of the Grand Canyon. And just so you don't think I'm in the wrong place, this is a map of monster sightings I got off the internet. And here's the rim. There's the Grand Canyon. These big ovals are where people have seen monsters in Arizona. So IW saw a weird guy, strange neighbor, sitting out there on a boulder, and he said he finally succeeded in approaching closer, and he saw a man with long white hair and a matted beard that reached to his knees. The creature was unaware of him approaching, and he gazed on him for some moments unobserved. He was about 50 yards away and in full view, wore no clothing, and had talon-like fingers, claws at least 2 inches long. He also said that this creature had a coat of gray hair that covered his entire body, with spots of dirty skin showing. Now, in this account, he said, "I had found the wild man of the rocks." Now, that indicates that there had been stories leading up to this account.
The account escalates. The figure reacts aggressively. A loud vocalization, rapid movement across terrain that shouldn't allow it. The description focuses on capability, speed, strength, control. Then it disappears. Not resolved, just gone, leaving the idea behind rather than the evidence.
Scary. All right, it's scary up here. Good morning, crows.
The environment changes again as he drops into the timber below, from open to enclosed. Now the forest compresses everything: sound, movement, perception. Where the rim felt exposed, the woods feel contained. Not watched from a distance, but surrounded up close. This one isn't driven by a single event. It's environmental progression. Open space to exposure, history to suggestion, dense forest to confinement. Nothing is confirmed, but the structure builds pressure through contrast. Wide visibility turning into vulnerability, and then into restriction. By the end, the location doesn't feel dangerous because of what's seen, but because of how it feels to exist inside it. The next chilling video comes from Sydney, a solo female traveler documenting life on the road in her 1997 Chevrolet Tahoe, with a focus on the realities and risks of camping alone in remote areas. It is May 1st, 2026, along the Gulf Coast, Florida, United States. The first shift is behavioral. A vehicle passes once, then again, then stops. The driver asks basic questions: road direction, access, but the delivery doesn't match the situation. Because the location isn't complex. That's the detail. The questions don't add up, but they serve a purpose: interaction.
And so I don't want him to know. I want it to maybe look like I'm about to leave. He's coming back.
Later, after relocating, the pattern continues, but more subtle. A truck passes with no headlights. In a dark rural environment, that's not normal driving behavior. It removes visibility, but also removes identification, which shifts intent from movement to concealment.
Dude, what is up with people being so suspicious? Just a theme of this episode. My food is done. Dinner. Don't know how it'll taste exactly, but I'm gonna guess it'll be pretty good. Wow, that is really good.
Then proximity becomes direct. A man appears, on foot, within immediate range of the vehicle. Not passing through. Stationary. Fishing is the explanation. But the timing, the location, and the distance don't align cleanly. That's the shift. From potential observation to physical presence.
Trucks kept driving by last night in the middle of the night and it sketched me out. But I'm going to end my video here, so thank you all so much for watching. And if you'd like to support my channel even further, I have a Patreon with behind the scenes, deleted scenes videos, photos, and thumbnails on there. I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next one.
The night doesn't settle. Traffic continues. Intermittent, unpredictable. Each pass resets awareness. No escalation, but no resolution either. This one is pattern-based. Not a single event, but repeated behavior. Circling vehicles, reduced visibility, slow passes, close proximity, individually explainable. Together, consistent. The key isn't confirmation, it's accumulation. Because once multiple variables point in the same direction, the situation changes from random to intentional. Nothing happens, but the environment never returns to neutral. The next shocking video of the night comes from American Renegade, a US-based solo van life channel focused on the realities of stealth camping, security, and real-time encounters while living on the road. It is February 23rd, 2016 in a secluded parking area, United States. The setup is routine. Parked in a familiar spot, engine off, working inside the van. Then a vehicle pulls in, close. Closer than necessary. At first, it's ignored, because the location is known. That assumption holds for now.
No, just a tiny little rock. So I figured, okay, well, he got out and maybe stumbled into the van or something. So then it happened again.
Then it escalates. The van is rocked again, this time with force. No ambiguity, not accidental. That's the shift, from passive presence to direct interaction.
Anyway, I kind of saw a figure right in the back there. And of course, as you all know, my box is back there, which houses a very expensive generator, so...
Response is immediate, no hesitation. He moves to the driver's seat, starts the engine, repositions the van, and turns to face them directly. Headlights on full beam. Visibility replaces uncertainty, Control replaces passivity. This one flips quickly. Normal environment, minor disturbance, then clear intent. The key isn't what they were doing. It's how fast the boundary disappears. A parked van stops being private space the moment someone interacts with it physically. And that's the reality here. Not threat escalation, but access. Because once someone is close enough to touch the vehicle, the situation is already active. The next video comes from Adam Soldo, a US-based outdoor filmmaker and van life creator, known for documenting the psychological strain of isolation, real-world encounters, and the unpredictability of remote travel. It is November 5th, 2024 across Utah, California, and Colorado, United States. The first shift happens on an empty road. Late at night, a silver sports car appears behind him. Too close, too consistent. He changes direction repeatedly, turns, side streets, detours, but it doesn't drop off. That's the key detail, not presence, persistence.
Level head about it helps you handle it smoothly and move on with your life. Now this next story is the weirdest and down, and we couldn't go back the way we came up. It was just too dangerous. We were in a very green and lush riparian zone located by a river with a lot of thick aspens and willow. After a bunch of river crossings, we found a shaded area that had a nice sitting log for lunch. And suddenly he froze. I saw him staring at something, but I didn't really think anything of it at the time because I was in my camera settings trying to adjust and also reviewing footage that I got from earlier in our trip. But when he was staring for way longer than usual, the look on his face was enough to make me wonder. He swore that he saw something big and dark moving, observing us from across the river. From the way that he describes this encounter, it sounds like it was trying to stay hidden and peering at us from behind the tree. Something that he thought that maybe could be Bigfoot, or at the very least, a tall and dark-haired figure. There was a pretty deep and fast-moving river between us and the other side, so...
The final shift moves away from people, but not from tension. Deep in the backcountry, his friend locks onto something across a river. Distance is clear, access is not. No trails, no route across. Yet something is there.
But we looked on the map and there was no other trails on the other side of the river. So either it was somebody off trail or it was something a little more mysterious than that.
Yeah.
Hard to say, but our imaginations definitely led us to some interesting theories as to what it was. It'd be cool to say we saw a big...
The figure moves, upright, deliberate, human-like in motion. It steps behind a single tree and doesn't come out. That's the break in logic, because the space doesn't allow for disappearance. But it happens anyway. They stay, but the feeling doesn't leave. No visual confirmation, no footage, just awareness. Sustained, unresolved, and directional. Something is there, but not accessible. This one isn't one encounter. It's a pattern. Road, city, wilderness, different environments. Same core issue, lack of control. Being followed, being approached, being observed. Sometimes confirmed, sometimes not. But the structure stays consistent. The moment something locks onto you, the situation changes. And from that point on, it's no longer about where you are. It's about how quickly you can leave. Before we get into the next clip, around 70% of people watching aren't subscribed. We're working toward 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you're enjoying the video, hitting subscribe really does help. All right, let's get back to it. The last video of the night comes from Ricky Lee HB, a US-based solo van life channel documenting the realities of living out of a vehicle, with a focus on urban stealth camping and the risks that come with it. It is January 17th, 2026 in Newport Richey, Florida, United States.
It did not happen in this van. It didn't happen anytime recently. I'm just talking about a time that it happened to me. All right, so I had lived in the Tampa Bay area like a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Right after COVID. What the heck? What way does this go? I had accepted a job down there. I was working at Lowe's in Pennsylvania, And, oh, what the heck? Come on, man. I see the line. Which way did you go? What kind of witchcraft is this? Like, is that the edge? I can't tell. So I had accepted a position at a different Lowe's. I was working at the one that I work at currently in Pennsylvania. Was I? Yeah.
The situation is already compromised before anything happens. Sleeping in a car during a Florida summer means windows have to stay open. That's not optional. It's survival. But it creates a trade-off: comfort for exposure. In a high-crime area, that decision matters because the barrier between inside and outside is no longer secure.
Woken out of nowhere. Pop, pop, pop. I'm like, and I scream. I'm like, ah! Like, and so he's like, oh, you're fine. Don't worry. I'm just, I have some questions for you. There was a car theft right behind you. I'm parked here, like face this way, and then the car behind me was stolen, apparently. The person who owns the car was in Planet Fitness, working out, 11 p.m., whatever, midnight, whatever time it was. And so he's like, yeah, they got the, did you hear anything? Did you see anything? And I'm like, no, I didn't. I was asleep at that time, apparently. And so he doesn't really say that much after that. He says, you're fine to sleep here. You're good. I just needed to know if you heard anything. Experience? I'm like, so, like, my windows are cracked. So what if they came after me, and, you know...
The source is identified: police. But the reason shifts everything again. A car has just been stolen from directly behind him. Not earlier, not distant, right there, while he was asleep. That's the key detail, not the knock, the timing. The realization sets in. Same environment, same conditions, windows open, no awareness. The only difference is choice. They didn't pick his vehicle, but they could have.
I was scared. I was like, what's going to happen to me? Like, did I choose wrong? Like, I left the safety net of Pennsylvania, where all my family lives, where I grew up, to move to Florida by myself. There's no one down there that I knew except for people that worked at Lowe's. And, like, I was second-guessing my life choices. Bro, you're wasting so much right now. I was second-guessing my life choices. I missed Bentley. I wanted to see him. I wanted to be with him. I did end up leaving Lowe's completely. I think like a couple months later, something like that. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember everything. And so I ended up leaving Lowe's to go work for the company that I ended up, it was the cruise line that ended up going bankrupt and me starting this channel. It was that company that I went to work for. And so I loved the job. I was a public area cleaner or whatever. I love doing it. I need like 3 more rolls, or like a fat roll of duct tape. Because, I mean, this is the biggest window. This is like the middle window or whatever. I definitely need more duct tape. And then I got this from my Lowe's. I worked until 9 tonight. I should have picked up a couple more rolls. I only got to... whatever. I need to pay attention to how, like, far I'm, like, leaving my...
From that point, the location is no longer usable. Even though nothing happened directly, the sense of safety is gone. Because the risk is no longer theoretical. It's proven. Close, active, and recent. This one is about proximity. No chase, no confrontation. Just distance reduced to 0. The threat doesn't target him, but it exists right next to him. And that's enough. Because in this setup, security isn't controlled, it's conditional. The difference between safe and unsafe isn't preparation. It's whether you were chosen. We appreciate you for watching. If these creepy encounters gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next drop. There's always another mystery waiting just around the corner.